Tuesday. Hope you're all doing well. How's everybody's week going? Let in the comments how life looks in your house today, Tuesday, how the week's going for you. I'm going to give everybody a chance to come on into our live stream here, and super excited for our guest tonight. I know you guys are too. Ready to kind of lighten things up a little bit. We could all use it right now. So really excited for tonight's guest, who we'll get to in just a few minutes. Tara Clark is with us from Modern Mom Probs. You've probably seen her memes being shared around the internet, including on our NJ Mom social pages as well. So we're really excited to have Tara joining us tonight. While we wait for everybody to come on in and join us as well, please let us know a little bit about you in the comments. I always like to open things up just by learning a little bit about who we have watching and joining us tonight. So if you are a new face here and you've never joined us here for NJ Mom TV, please let us know in the comments. We'd love to hear from you. Tell us a little bit about yourself, how old your kids are, where you live in New Jersey, what you're doing for Valentine's Day, anything. Just drop a note in the comments. We always love to hear from you guys. And if you are a familiar face, happy to have you back. Always look forward to having all of our NJ Mom Squad with us on Tuesday nights. I look forward to this every week. And so many of you always say you do too. So that makes us all feel really good on the NJ Mom team. So if you're back and back with us and you've been with us before, we welcome you. We're happy to have you. For those of you who don't know me, if you are new here, my name is Marissa. I am a mom of 3 little ones who I think just fell asleep. Yay! My oldest is actually turning 5 on Friday. So yeah, so that's me. And I host our weekly NJ Mom TV Live events, as well as videos on our YouTube page and all that. So we're happy to have you. So come on in, say hello in the comments. Get ready for a little laughter and a little lightheartedness to maybe switch things up throughout the week. I know by this point, Tuesday always feels like the hardest day for me. I don't know about you guys. Can I get an amen if that's like anyone else's experience? Tuesdays are always tricky. I don't know what it is. They're always harder than Mondays for me. It's always been that way. So if I'm not alone in that, please let me know. So before I jump into everything with our guest tonight, we do a few things at the start of these weekly chats every week. The first is that we always love to give a moment of appreciation and thank you for all of our frontline workers and healthcare workers who are still sacrificing so much, doing so much to keep us all afloat and care for people in just this incredibly difficult time. So if you are a healthcare worker, if you're a frontline or essential worker joining us tonight, thank you for everything you do. From all of us at the NJ Mom, we really appreciate it. And I know we have a lot of first responder mamas and mamas who work in various healthcare fields always joining us, those who have spouses in those fields. So if you're joining us again tonight and here with us again, thank you. We always love to also just give you guys a little roundup of some of the new things we have on njmom.com this week, just in case you haven't had a chance to check out some new articles. I am going to do that and also drop those links. We'll be dropping those links in the comments for you. And if you check in the comment section now, a little blurb about Tara, our guest tonight. So just to find out a little bit of what we're in for this evening. And some other things that I want to just bring your attention to if you haven't had a chance to check them out on njmom.com. We do a weekly series. It is a fan favorite and a personal favorite actually as well. All of us on the team love it because it's our NJ Mompreneur of the Week series. We do it every Monday. And we feature some just incredible women who have so much passion about what they do, both in their business and of course for their family. So this week, we had a really interesting article about Danetta Bishop Johnson, and she is the owner of an art school. It's called the Allegra School of Music and Arts. She's a former software designer, and her school actually started off as a side hustle more than 20 years ago now. So to see what she's grown in that time as a mompreneur is amazing. She also has a very powerful story of personal tragedy and how that really has influenced her and impacted her in a way where she is giving back and doing so much, particularly for young people. So please give that a read if you haven't. If you're looking for a little inspiration just start the week. And just really, I was in awe reading that story about her. So give it a look if you haven't already. And another favorite that we always love to share with you guys, because you guys always love to tell us which one of these you've checked off your list, is our weekly kid-friendly things to do. So this week we have some really fun kid-friendly activities and events to check out. Obviously, we have Valentine's Day coming up. We have President's Day. It's Black History Month, so there's so much going on. And I know a lot of schools, well, a lot of our kids are home from school. Next week, a lot of schools are actually off and closed. So a lot of events leading up to that. So a couple just quickly to put on your radar that are in the article. This I thought was so cute. It's a winter story walk, and that's happening in Glen Rock. My kids would love that. Give that a look if you haven't. There's also a socially distanced cooking class where kids can cook some Valentine's treats. That's happening in Summit. And then a virtual event actually celebrate the Lunar New Year. That happening as well. So some really good ones this week for all of the things we're marking, all of the events and activities and holidays that we're marking this week. We also have another great roundup on the site in honor of Black History Month, and it is ways to support Black-owned businesses throughout New Jersey. And this is a really great list of some amazing businesses. We've broken it down for North, Central, and South Jersey, and then we also have a bunch of different ones that are online businesses that are actually based here in our state. So some great ones. I bookmarked a couple there as I was perusing it myself. So if you're looking to support, please give that a look as well. And again, we'll be dropping the links to those articles in the chat. If you missed it, you can give those a look. All right, so I'm going to bring in Tara in just a minute. One other quick shout out. We just really appreciate all of the tags, all of the pictures that you guys share with us, tagging and hashtagging NJMom. Some great ones of the snow. We've had so many great ones coming in. So thank you so much for doing that. We always love to see your photos. We share them in our article roundups each week. We share them on our social pages. And we also have a cover photo of the week, 5 cover photos of the week, actually, that we choose for our Facebook page. So all you have to do to enter into that, you just comment a picture of your cuties on that Facebook post where it says cover photo of the week. So you can always do that. So thanks so much for sharing. Okay, so basically what we're going to do, we're going to laugh it up a little bit this Tuesday night. We thought this would be a great opportunity to just kind of have a little time to decompress together and just kind of talk mom life in a lighthearted way. So without further ado, I am going to bring in Tara, but I just saw Nicole's comment coming in and I have to say I'm ready for some laughs, baking our own heart pizzas and cupcakes for Valentine's Day. That sounds perfect. It's National Pizza Day, which I totally missed, so I have to make up for that tomorrow. But that sounds amazing, Nicole, and I'm so glad you're ready for some laughs because this is the lady to do it. So I'm going to bring Tara in right now, and she is joining us from North Jersey. Tara, so good to see you. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having me on, Marissa. I'm so excited to be here.
Oh my gosh, so excited. Okay, so first I just want to give you a chance to tell all our moms a little bit about you, where you're located in New Jersey, your family, all of that stuff.
Sure. Okay. So I'm a Jersey girl, born and raised. Although I did go to college in Philadelphia, and then we also lived in New York City for 10 years. But aside from that, we're back in Jersey, and it's going to look like it's going to stay
Jersey through and through.
Jersey through and through. I'm originally from Morris County, but now we live in Closter, New Jersey, which is like the very tippy top part of Bergen County, where when I grew up in Morris County, I didn't even know that this part of Bergen County existed because it's sort of hard to get to from Morris County. And so so now I live here. Who would have thought?
Awesome. And you have a son, right?
I do. I have one 8-year-old son. His name is Jack. I always say just Jack, like from Will and Grace.
Yes.
And so that always helps people to remember him and remember his name too. So I have just Jack, and I run my Instagram. Yeah, Morris County, woo! And I run my Instagram account, which is called Modern Mom Probs. I originally started it. It's almost 5 years ago now. And I started it when we were living in New York City, and it was called NYC Mom Probs. And I was sort of talking about like the things that were sort of unique to living in Manhattan and raising a baby and raising children. And then we moved out of the city back home to New Jersey. And then I didn't have those same city problems anymore. And so I was like, I got to change the name of my account. And so I changed it to Modern Mom Probs, and then boom, it just went from there.
Yeah. And it's like you said, the growth, it sort of just caught on because you were talking about things that were so super relatable to all modern mamas. It's funny. So we put up an article, and if you guys don't take our weekly poll, please do it, because it always just interests me what you guys are thinking and hearing and feeling about the topic at hand for that week. So we put up one this week, and one of our moms came through and said, when I see a mom meme, it just makes you feel like, okay, like I'm not the only one who's crazy. Like I'm not the only one who's going nuts this week. There's something so relatable about sharing those humorous moments, however mundane. So what have you found that really like resonates with people about this? Like, what do you hear from people when they see one of your memes, they share it, they comment? What do they say?
Sure. And it's interesting too, because saying this meme, there's a lot of different kinds, right? So like there's a comedy meme, right? And then there are like more serious and sentimental ones. And so those also connect too. So it's sort of different. But going back to the comedy ones, I think just everyday relatable observations about just everyday life really like they slay, because and it's similar to like how like Seinfeld was, right? Like, he's talking about like everyday things, but you're like, me too. So that's the thing here in motherhood, especially, with Modern Mom Probs. It's like, I have Modern Mom Probs, you have Modern Mom Probs. We all do. We may hear some different ones from time to time, but overall, like we are experiencing some sort of modern mom problem, right? And so that's what I like to joke around about. And that's sort of my thing. I've always been very observant. And so I sort of just like kind of case out life, and I say, okay, there's this and that's funny, and there's this and that's funny. And I sort of go from there. But then there are times where I write very sentimental posts and very relatable posts and ones that are sort of raw, and people, attach to that and say, yes, me too. Thank you for saying that. Because the other thing too is like, I want to start the conversation of important things as well, right? Whether it's infant loss, pregnancy loss, infertility, postpartum depression. I mean, all of those things. We talk about all of those things on my Instagram page, and I want to normalize those conversations. And so luckily we do try to do it with a humorous tone when that's appropriate. And then sometimes obviously that's not appropriate. And we speak to it the way that we need to.
Yeah.
It runs the gamut of fun and serious.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, that's life. And that's, that's the journey we're all on, and we're all on it, whether we like it or not. So yeah, I love that. Let's talk about, so obviously with the pandemic happening, memes have been like the way people communicate. Like you see something, you see a quote on Modern Mom Probs, you're like, oh, I'm sending that to my bestie. Like that's the way we do things now, because we're not in person that much anymore. And, I think there's been such a sense of like relief and release when you see these things and it really hits home and you're like, yep, that's my life right now. So let's talk about some of the ones that have kind of taken off over the past year. Can you share those with us? Like let us in on the funny. What have people been loving?
Yeah, sure. So there's this one where it says, I'm just a mom holding her phone down low, not to wake her children up, or not to wake her family up while she's on the phone. So more or less, I didn't get the exact quote, right? But more or less, it's like a mom who's scrolling her phone, laying in bed with her kids who are co-sleeping with her husband. And so she's trying to keep the phone low so the light doesn't wake them up. That really resonated with people for a couple of reasons. One, moms are desperate to have alone time. And so they're looking at, like, even if they're like huddled in bed, they're looking for a couple minutes to themselves. And then two, co-sleeping is a big thing right now because there are so many sleep issues and sleep disturbances because of the pandemic. And so that one really resonated because Yeah, like how many people, I mean, I could ask, the people watching right now, like how many people have seen
I've done that.
fish cruise? Yeah, with like their kids and have done that and like laying in bed and scrolling and you're hoping like the little one falls asleep and you're trying to keep your phone low. Now, I'm the worst at this. Okay. I watch TikTok videos on my phone and then the volume comes on and
I do.
And he like goes flying out of bed. I actually need to make a meme about this. I need to make a meme about this. I just need to sit down and like think through it. But like, I can't be the only person in the world who's woken their husband up from watching videos online.
I'm not really on TikTok, but I do the same thing with Insta stories and Reels and all that.
Yes,
and
yes.
yeah, I mean, when did that just happen? Oh, it was last night. It was when I was going to bed, but I was in my room and my son was in his room, but he was like he must have like been stirring, and I don't know why, but my volume was like, it was like all the way up, and it was some like crazy song. And he's like, "Mommy, what are you doing?" I'm like, really, so yeah, we've all been there, right?
Yeah, so that's another one. Like I said, I just need to like kind of like take the time to make a meme about that. But that's a thing, right? It's happened to me. It's happened to you. I'm sure it's happened to other people out there. And so that is a relatable mom prob, right? And so those are the things that I like to make light of.
Yeah. I just had an idea. I'm just going to throw this out. If anyone has like a suggestion of like a fun topic for a mom meme, I'm sure, Tara, you're always looking for inspiration. So if anyone has any ideas or something that they feel like is very relatable, please share in that. So I want to talk, so we kind of touched on this before, but, especially over the past year, we've all, whether you're a mom or not, we've all really been seeking and craving that connection and that personal interaction that we haven't been getting as much, particularly with friends. Okay, so maybe at this point we've been able to see some family members, but the friendship, like I am saying all the time, like I miss my friends. Like, not that I had all kinds of time prior to this to be like out all the time with friends, but like an occasional girls' night, an occasional coffee date, things like that like really have not happened for many of us. So what do you think it is about your account and about what you share and all that has not taken the place of those connections, but sort of stepped in and helped moms feel a little more connection at this time?
Absolutely. And even previous to the pandemic, I've always said that one of the major modern mom problems is that we lack a village, right? So an in-person village. So our village moved online, right?
Yeah.
Just this is, we're here together and with everyone watching and stuff like that. And so our village is now a digital village. And that's part of what my Instagram account is all about. And so that's where my best friends are actually my other Instagram friends. They live in Arizona, they live in Texas, they live in Kansas City, they live all over the world, and in Holland and stuff like that. They live all over the world, but they're still my closest friends, and I talk to them every day, and we're in each other's lives. We know about our families and this and that. Some of my friends I've visited in person, and so it's really a wonderful community of people. So having said that, like I said, even pre-pandemic, that's what this community is all about. Is just connecting and saying, like, are you going through this experience? Like, let's talk about our shared experiences, and so that we don't feel alone. It's part of why I started the account in the first place, because we were living in the city and my son was 3 and we didn't really have any friends. And I was like, how can I like kind of connect with people outside of my apartment? And that was how we did it. And so I'm so glad that I did, because I mean, now, I did it to sort of make friends initially, but now we're friends all over the place, all over the world. So, and then we're helping people and we're having these really important conversations.
That's so cool. Nicole just chimed in saying she is loving virtual learning memes, which I'm sure you've got a few.
Me too, Nicole. I have to say, I love it. My son is a fully virtual learner. He's in the 2nd grade. I had to learn 2nd grade math because they don't carry the 1. It's a different thing. And so that's challenging. I'm not looking forward to 3rd grade because I may fail 3rd grade. So we'll see how that goes. So yes, I agree with those 100%. So we'll keep those coming.
Yeah. Yeah. My kids are not old enough in the virtual learning capacity yet, and they're not doing the new math, but it looks scary. Like I look at it and I'm like, what is happening there? Like I have no idea.
I mean, it's hard, right, Nicole? It's hard. Like I should know it. I graduated high school. I graduated college. I even went to grad school. Like,
but everything's different. It's different,
and it's hard. And I don't use math all the time. I'm
right.
a writer,
Yeah.
I'm a content creator. I barely got through math the first time. And that was when I was carrying the one.
Right.
Now it's a whole nother thing. And they're drawing pictures and maybe I should have been drawing pictures. Maybe they're drawing the pictures.
They're drawing pictures in the math problem?
Yes, because they have to like count it out, sort of. So they have to like draw the pictures to count it out, and it helps them. I'm sure there's like a perfectly sound reason behind it.
Yeah.
I just don't know it.
Yeah, I'm with you. I've never been good at math. I've always been the writer, the communicator. Like that's always been my thing. So I am scared for when, and that's coming, soon for my house. So yeah, Nicole's right with you with the second grade math.
Yeah. No, I mean, and then like the problem was also like I was actually getting some of the answers wrong, and then my son would like side eye me and be like, "Mom, why'd you get that wrong?" And how embarrassing is that?
Right. Yeah. Oh well. What can we do? We just do our best. Like never pass it.
I try.
I realized that when we were talking about your background, I didn't get a chance to ask you about Nickelodeon, because I think that our moms will find that very interesting. That's actually your background. Before you started this account, you worked for Nickelodeon, which we're all very familiar with, of course.
Yes,
especially over the past year.
I'm sure you are. So yeah, I was a communication major, so I've always been working in media and stuff like that. And so I worked at Nickelodeon, and my most recent position at Nickelodeon right before my son was born was working in social media in the digital marketing team. And I was Dora the Explorer on Facebook. And my mother loved to tell people, like, my daughter's Dora the Explorer. Like, on Facebook, Mom.
There's that little like qualifier at the end. Like, I'm not actually.
Yeah, on Facebook. I was like, I schedule the posts, Mom. But then also, so I did social media for Nick Jr. and Nick at Night. Those were my two.
Fun.
Yeah.
Dora the Explorer on Facebook. That is quite the claim to fame. Like that's going with you forever.
I think it is. And I think it's even funnier that my mom just like go around telling people.
Does she still tell people that? Like, will she still bring it up?
No.
That's like a mom thing. Like, if my child was Dora the Explorer, I would bring it up forever.
Yeah, it's a good question. I haven't really asked her about that in a while, but I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, now she's telling people like that I make memes and stuff like that. And so that's even worse.
Okay, so one of my best friends, we always have this joke that like she still calls it that. We're like, Carrie, it's not a meme. Like it's not a program.
Well, according to my mom, because I was featured in 201 magazine like 2 years ago. And so I showed her the feature. I was like, oh, Mom, look, like I was in a magazine. And she was like, oh, memes look interesting. I was like, no, God bless her. My mom's a wonderful person. She is not a technology person. Like it's not.
I mean, it's, and I think a lot of people, even who weren't technology people to start, like we've had no choice to get a little more. So maybe she'll be sharing a meme before you know it, like one of your, all right.
She doesn't have a smartphone.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah. That's how far back. My mom, God bless her, is a time capsule for 1997. She doesn't have the internet. She doesn't have a smartphone. She has a flip phone, and like, that's it.
That's really interesting, especially because of what you do. Like, that's really cool. All right, so let's talk about some more subjects and kind of topics that have kind of come up that you've been like a big response on. We talked about the phone one. Any others that kind of stick out in your head? And this week pre-pandemic, I'm just curious what your audience has found sort of the funniest or shareable and relatable and all that.
Sure. It's interesting. Just last night, I posted something in my stories, actually, I posted a meme more or less, and I said, what is a modern mom problem? And I sort of rifled through things. I said loneliness, like financial hardship, judgment from other moms, social justice. There were so many different things that I like ratcheted through. And then I asked the people, because, in Instagram stories, you could ask a person like questions. And so I asked, well, what are you struggling with? What modern mom problem are you struggling with? And I received more answers than I've ever received in a story ever. It was an overwhelming amount. And many of them were like, all of the things that you just listed, Tara. I'm struggling with all of these things.
Mm-hmm.
And then a lot of, people just answered different things. And so it's what's interesting about social media and Instagram is that it's a living laboratory, right? Like I ask a question, like I want to know, like, what's affecting you right now? Like, what is your day to day? And then they can answer. And like I said, it was an overwhelming amount of answers. And then I know really what people are thinking about, whether, it's funny stuff that they're thinking about, or it's more serious stuff that they're thinking about. And the answers yesterday and that are still coming in now were more serious things. That's the working mother, it's the pandemic parenting, it's the loneliness, it's all the stuff that we're living through, each day. And so when I started the account, it was a very like trivial kind of like haha kind of thing. And then like, in the last 4 years, like, gosh, like it's really developed in a different way. And I'm really glad, like I said, that we're able to tackle a lot of these issues and questions that people have.
Absolutely. That's so interesting because, even in our weekly lives, we always ask people, like, let us know what you're thinking about. Like, what do you want to hear from us? And we always get such great responses. And like you said, sometimes it's so interesting that sometimes you hear or see something that you don't even realize, is a struggle. And then someone says it and it's just, oh my gosh, me too. And, it's just like what we said before about that connection and that feeling of feeling understood, and just how adaptable it is, because it's that connection, and it's that community that you were describing. So I want to make sure I shout out anybody. If anybody has any questions for Tara, or if anyone's just coming in and wants to share a funny meme that they think would be a good subject for a meme, something going on in your house that you think you would like to see Tara turn into a meme on her account, we'll give her a little inspiration in the comments. So please let us know kind of what you guys have been dealing with this week. What was I just going to say? I was going to get back to the pandemic. Obviously, those things, we've been trying to keep it light with certain things related to quarantine life and, being in sweatpants all the time and all of that.
Sweatpants. I'm wearing sweatpants right now.
I'm wearing leggings, which I literally wear every single day. Like I've seen jeans like 4 times in the past year, probably. I mean, I'm not even exaggerating, maybe 5. Like, I'm just not interested.
I hear it. I have one pair of jeans that are like those like soft ones that like almost feel like sweatpants, kind of, sort of. Like jeggings. And they have holes in them. And so like, that's the only pair that I'm kind of like getting into wearing, but it's like so like infrequently, really rare. I'm a big sweatpants tipper. And like, I used to be leggings and I took it down a notch. Like I was like, oh, leggings are nice. I'm like, how could I take this down even further than I am? It's sweatpants.
You're still above pajamas. And so, hey, I mean, that first month, it was hard to even get out of pajamas most days. So like at that point, I think many of us were just like, if we can just get dressed today, that will be, we'll be in good shape. So anyway, I was going to ask, like, if you could tell us maybe like the top 3 things that people are talking about or kind of want to hear about or laugh about that are funny, and also maybe the top 3 that you're hearing about that are more serious related to the pandemic.
Sure.
I don't know if you could think of that off the top of your head, but just,
I eat, sleep, and breathe this motherhood stuff. No, I got it. So the top 3 funniest things definitely would be the virtual learning, because so many people are struggling with that right now. And then even like the working from home, the like, I got to do this for work, and then I'm turning and I'm, logging my kid into school, and like all of those like pressures, like, although that sounds serious, but sometimes, it's serious.
You have to make light of it sometimes.
You have to make light of that, or else like, like my head would fall off if I didn't. So, So that's definitely a thing. Again, like the not getting out of sweatpants and leggings and stuff. Like I said, I took it down a whole notch. Like I used to wear jeans, and then like I really loved wearing leggings, and I still love wearing leggings, but I gained some weight, and then once I gained weight, I just went full into sweatpants mode. But you're right, it's still above pajamas, and so
yes, give yourself credit where credit is due.
Thank you. And you know what? Like I even washed my hair, so there you go. That's a step in the right direction.
You're taking it as a win. I love it. Exactly. Hey, Nicole, I just wanted to say hi to one of our regulars, Nicole.
Hi, Nicole. It's so nice to see you.
Happy to have you here. What's going on in your world? Let us know how the week is. Anybody just popping in, let us know what's going on in your world and what is happening for you in this current situation. Sam has a question. She wants to know, what sort of hacks do you have for working from home and managing virtual schooling? You said your son is all virtual, so any advice for Sam?
Yeah, no, I definitely do. We're big into setting a designated area for learning, because we want to maximize my son's learning as much as possible, and I want to be able to maximize my own work time as much as possible. So we have a spare room that's like our gym, and we converted that to his classroom. So now he has like a folding table and all of his classroom stuff, and headphones, huge game changer for my son to listen to school. He can't wear them all day because after a while they kind of like, they hurt, but just to really like when they need to tune in, definitely get a pair of headphones. And like I said, a special space just for them to be able to focus, because if they're sitting at the kitchen table all day, there's a lot of movement, people are walking by, and it's hard for them to really tune in and focus on school.
And how do you do it when you're working? Are you working in a separate room from him? I think you mentioned he's in his own room and then you're elsewhere, right?
Correct. Yes. So I just said about the kitchen table. Right. He's in his own room with the door shut. I'm usually at the kitchen table because I can still hear him from where he is. Right. And so I'm able to do most of my work from the kitchen table while I'm listening out for him to say like, Mom, can you print this? I'm like an executive secretary, like an executive assistant for my son for school. Yeah. I have like all of his papers printed, lay it all out on the table, have them in the order. And like, I used to be an executive assistant. So like, I know what's expected of me, but I just never thought that it would like come back around this way.
You read the job description, you were fully prepared, but you just weren't expecting your son to be the boss. Yeah, totally get it.
No, he's like, where's my files? I'm like,
so true. Nicole, glad to have you back. So sorry to hear about your grandfather. Nicole just had lost her grandfather, but she was mentioning as well that her son does Zoom therapy. He's younger, but he has therapy sessions, and she turned a part of her basement into the therapy room. So yeah, so many people have been just making use of space and kind of sectioning off those areas, which is really important. So true. I work for my dining room table still, but we're in the process of getting our basement done, and so soon I'm gonna have a little space down there, which is great. But yeah, so my dining room table, like just today, my daughter, like during one of my calls today, we have a bar cart, like you can't see, but it's over here in my dining room. It's like our bar cart. I mean, she sits on the bottom of the bar cart and plays with all of like the mixer, like the little like cocktail stir and things. I'm like, this is not appropriate for 1.5-year-old, but there she is. And sometimes it occupies her when I need to get a call done. So she doesn't touch anything, any liquor. It's right there. And she plays with the bucket and, whatever we have to do, right?
That's exactly what it is. Funny that you say about the basement. I am now sitting in our newly renovated basement, which I've sort of turned into. I totally like I like usurped it, and like it's mine now. And so
this is mine.
This is it. This is mine. So now it's mine, and I'm using this loosely. It's my studio now. So if I have to come down and do a call or anything like that, Mommy goes into the basement. But yeah, it's wonderful. It's great.
That's great. Just reflecting on the virtual learning, Nicole was laughing at all those passwords. In addition to the paperwork, I give you guys so much credit. Like any mom who's virtual learning multiple children and for like 3 different classrooms and all, like I can't even, my brain hurts just thinking about that. And in addition to like all of the things that moms have to remember for our own password, like,
it's so many different things. It's like Raz Kids, Seesaw, this thing, that thing, extra math. There's so many different websites. It's crazy. And then like there's the Zoom call, and then you have to like jump off the one Zoom call, and then you have like 20-minute break, and then you jump on another one, and then there's so many transitions in the course of a day. It's really challenging, and luckily, like because my son is 8 now, he's able to like handle a lot of those transitions and log in himself. But my one good friend, she has a kindergartner and an 8-year-old, like in 2nd grade, and so she's split between this session and that session, and she works from home, and so she has clients on scheduled calls, and so it's challenging. And so that is another problem that we talk about.
Yeah. Yes. Very much a modern mom prob. And if any of you mamas watching right now, that is your life currently, like we are thinking of you and we are pulling for you, and just it's a lot. It's a lot. It's just, yeah. So, well, all right. So those were our 3 funny, we got off track, but those are our 3 funny pandemic related. So what have you been hearing more on the serious side of really the pandemic parenting struggles that are the most common? I'm sure they're probably a lot of the same things.
It is. I hear a lot of mothers saying how lonely it is. It's the loneliness is a big issue, being home with the kids, and not having that adult interaction. So that's one. Another one for parents that are of children that are a little bit older is screen time is an issue, because it's balancing what you think that they should have, let's say 2 hours of screen time, but they're getting maybe 4, 5, 6 hours of screen time. And so that's another thing that I think parents are sort of struggling with right now too. And again, going back to the working mother. So there's like that, funny side that we could joke about the passwords and all that stuff. But then the other part of it is like, as a working parent, that the balance of all of, the chores. I think that's a big one too, is like the chore gap, right? Like, so as women, you're obviously parenting and you're working, in your career, but then there's also the expectation of taking care of the house too. So it's sort of that trifecta of all coming together. That is, it's a struggle for many families, many women.
There's so much like related to it. And, we're seeing so much now, especially over the past month, once we got after the holidays, like these numbers of like mothers leaving the workforce, and really the burden that this has all taken, particularly on women, and most particularly on moms. It's unbelievable. So I'm sure that we'll continue to see a lot of shared sentiment related to that and surrounding that, continue to be shared for you. Let me ask, what's next on your plate? Like, what do you have coming up for Modern Mom Probs? What can we expect to see on the account? What any previews you can give us of anything coming out that we'll see on the account over the next couple weeks?
Sure. Well, I wrote a book. It's super exciting. I wrote it, speaking of like pandemic parenting, I was lucky enough, I got a book deal last spring, and they were like, okay, you have 6 weeks to write this book and go. And so I know. And so I wrote it last summer while my son was home, because he didn't have camp or anywhere to go. And so he was home. And so like, he was like half watching TV, half playing with his toys. I was like throwing him snacks, like here's fruit snacks, here's
here. Well, I need to write one more chapter.
Well, here I am trying to write a book about motherhood. Right. And so it was like the ultimate irony in that. And so I finished it, submitted it in August to my publishing house, and it's coming out April 20th. Yeah.
So exciting.
Yeah, it's very exciting. But yeah, that was like really peak pandemic parenting, like trying to get this manuscript done while being a mom and
Yeah.
having your son home the whole time.
So what is the book, like, what's the premise of the book? Is it funny? Is it, more serious? Is it sentimental? Like, what can we expect from it?
So it's 99 problems. There's 99 modern mom probs.
I
And
love that.
yeah, but motherhood ain't one. And so it is, I cover 99 topics, a lot of topics, right?
Yeah.
So I cover everything from, lighthearted stuff and a lot of jokes to more serious things, such as miscarriage and postpartum depression. And I weave it. It has a really nice cadence to it, in as much as like sometimes it's very serious and then sometimes it's very funny, and it sort of kind of comes back and forth. And so it's a lot like my account. It's like if you took my account offline and made it analog and put it into a book, that would be the book.
There it would be. Awesome. Well, can't wait to see it. Can't wait to read it. That's super exciting.
Thank you.
Awesome.
Yeah.
And 99 Modern Mom Probs is a great title and a great way to kind of frame it. I love that.
Yeah. It's the whole title is Modern Mom Probs, a survival guide for 21st century mothers.
I love that. Nicole, I'm sorry. So speaking of, more serious issues, these are the kinds of things that people are dealing with, caring for aging family members throughout the pandemic. Nicole's son is special needs. Yeah. A whole new kind of parenting for me. That takes on a whole new setup, and it's a lot to deal with. So we're thinking of you, Nicole, because there's so much that, depending on each family situation, this is something that we've talked about so much in these weekly NJ Mom TVs, is that every family situation looks different through this, depending on what type of work the parents are in, what the family scenario is, if you do have older family members living with you, or whatever, and how old your kids are, how many kids there are, how close in age they are, how what their learning capacity is. Like, there's just, it goes on and on and on. And so yeah, and but like, coming back to the, like, what you share, I think that is what is so cool and special, is when we kind of see something that, no matter what our like situation is like sort of like universally relatable for a modern mom. I think is just so cool. How do you, I know like a lot of it comes from personal experience, but how do you sort of hone in on the things that you feel will be most relatable in terms of that? Because especially now, it's like, sometimes there's a lot, you don't want to like exclude someone or offend someone, or, but like inherently sometimes that happens.
Yeah.
So how do you select things that will be most universally, felt?
I am very selective. I think a lot about it. I think through everything I want. I never want to exclude anyone. And so I put great thought into whether I create the content myself or whether I share it from one of my friends and one of the other amazing content creators out there. So anything I put on my page, I've thought through a lot to make sure that it makes sense to be there, right? Mm-hmm. So I want to, if I'm doing something funny, I never want it to be on the backs of someone else. I never want to make a joke at the expense of someone else. Yes. I may make a joke at the expense of myself. And when I started my account, I was much more like self-deprecating than I am even now. But I never want the joke to be at someone else's expense. Mm-hmm. So that's something for comedy, right? And then as far as things that are more sentimental, I try to write from the heart. And like I said, I try to be as exclusive as possible. Just before we jumped on, I had posted a meme that I wrote last spring. So at the beginning of the pandemic, or the beginning of the quarantine, and I compare it to the newborn stage. When you first come home with your new baby from the hospital and you're in pajamas every day and you don't know what time it is and you don't know what day it is and you're in survival mode, but you just have to like hunker down and get through this. And if you could like hunker down and get through this, like, we're going to make it through and we got this, we could do this. Right. And so I just posted that like I said, right before we jumped on, and it's doing incredibly well engagement wise, but there are some people who are like, just go live your life. why are you staying home? You know, and
Right.
so you can't get everybody all the time, right? So I try my hardest to be as relatable as possible, but every once in a while, you know, someone will come out and say, you know, don't wear a mask, or, you know, whatever it happens. Like, don't let the people, you know, keep you down, or you know, like, so it just happens. I think it just happens with social media.
Yeah, absolutely. And you know what I just thought of when you said that, about that, like that newborn phase, and, you know, it was like thinking about it related to the beginning of the pandemic, and us thinking of that as, you know, parallel. Like, how naive were we? The newborn stage is like a couple months. I mean, we've been at this like a full year. You know, little did we all know back then. I think we all kind of thought, all right, well, you know, just do what we need to do, and, you know, 2-3 weeks. This, you know.
Yep.
We had no clue what was coming. So
yeah, no, it's interesting now that here we are 1 year later, you know, with really no true end in sight. So
yeah,
so that's interesting.
All right, so I want to just give everybody one last opportunity to chime in. Any ideas for Tara that maybe she can, she's all ears, that she could create into a meme for us to see on her account, or any thoughts or funny things that you guys are dealing with that maybe we could relate to. Please share them, or any questions for Tara as well, please. But before, as I wait for that, any sort of parting words, or you know, final thoughts of encouragement for all of our modern moms, our modern NJ moms out there watching, who
my favorite moms.
Yeah, exactly. Love it. Who could use a little laugh or a little lighthearted moment in their week.
Right. My only advice is, we're in this together, right? Like, don't think that you're an island by yourself. Reach out to me. I have people reach out to me all the time and say, hey, listen, I need help, or hey, listen, I'm lonely, or and can you introduce me to people, or whatever it happens to be. Like, I am here to help. And it's funny because one of my best friends reminded me, she said, remember when you had all of the infertility issues that you had and the miscarriages that you had, and then look, you got through that, you had a child, you created an Instagram account that's reaching hundreds of thousands of people, and now you're helping people from something that you almost didn't even have kids. And she reminded me of that, and I was like, thank you, Goldie, for reminding me that, like, I came from a place where, like, we really were like, you know, I don't think parenting is going to work out for us, just biology, you know, wise. And so we got through that, and then, you know, got through postpartum, and then got through, you know, XYZ, and keep going from there, right? And so, you know, if I've experienced a lot of the things, and then I know, you know, people out there have, and so why not talk about it? Why not normalize this conversation? Because there's no reason that we should keep it all bubbled up inside, right? And feel like we're on an island by ourselves, that we've never, you know, felt like, I don't even know all the things that we feel in the course of the day. And so I think it's important. And I think that social media is in a good place now where we're able to talk about this kind of stuff. When my son was born 8 years ago, Facebook wasn't like this. Instagram wasn't really a thing at that point. And Facebook was like, I ate a sandwich today. Take a picture of the sandwich. That was it. That was Facebook. Or you were like check in at the gym or something like that, you know, 8 years ago on Facebook. People were not having these conversations. And so now, you know, here we are later, you know, 5 years, 10 years later, we're having these open, raw conversations about things that are bothering us. Whereas like we just didn't have access to that as much before.
I agree 100%. And you and I kind of talked about that when we were getting ready for this. You know, you and I both had a complicated reproductive start. You know, you had a miscarriage and some infertility. I lost my first daughter and also had a miscarriage. And, you know, I totally agree in the sense that, like, for you and for me, when those things happen, my daughter would be 6 if she were alive. You know, even 6 years ago, it was not the openness that it exists today. And I still think we have a long way to go in terms of breaking stigmas surrounding all of these things, not just pregnancy or infant loss, but postpartum depression, mental health issues, and just really the pressures and complicated nature of motherhood. And I think that that's what it boils down to, is like through a meme or a live or a conversation with other people, you really do break down some of those walls and start to feel much more understood, or at least I have, and I hear that from moms in my circle all the time. So I totally agree. We're in this together. Like we have these platforms for our use. So like, why not make it for good? You know, like we're on the same page with that completely. Just a quick note from Nicole. She said, like, related to the pandemic, now our new catchphrase is stay safe instead of have a good day. I mean, how much has changed in a year? It's just
I can't even. It's
the
almost
things we never thought we'd be saying on a daily basis.
No, it's mind blowing to think where we were last February to where we are 1 year later.
It really is. It really is.
I love Nicole. Nicole, I love you.
I know. We have two Nicoles commenting, and they're both.
I'm saying both Nicoles. Love both of you guys.
Well, this was so fun. Thank you so much for being with us. Good luck on your book. We'll be looking out for it. We'll be looking out for some new memes this week. Loved having you with us, Tara. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Marissa, for having me. It was such a pleasure.
Absolutely. We'll talk soon. Take care.
Bye.
Bye. Good night. All right, guys. Hope that was a little moment of lightheartedness in your week and a little chance to kind of decompress. So loved having Tara with us. Yes, Nicole. It was great advice. Good. Thank you. Thank you both for being here. As always, please let us know, as we were talking about tonight, if you see something that you want to talk about, if you have a topic on your mind, a guest that you think would be great for us to bring on, please let us know. You can always reach out in the comments. Please take our weekly poll. We have it up on our site every week, and we feature some of your responses on News 12 New Jersey and on NJ Mom. And it helps us kind of prepare for this and know what you guys are thinking and feeling. So thank you to all of you who take it week after week. It's quick, I promise. It's like super, super fast. So really appreciate your responses on that, and appreciate you being with us as always. Have an awesome night, everybody, and we will see you back here next Tuesday night.